the franchise Shane Douglas, and you watching Pounding the Meat.
Surprise, not who you was expecting, was it? Well, normally if you see my name or you see my face, you know it's serious. So, unfortunately, I got to be serious. Here at PTM, we take things very seriously. We've listened to you. We've seen the tweets. We've heard your cries. So, we're going to take action. You've asked for it. So, what we've done, we went ahead and we fired Vince. So Vinny will not be with us. This was per your request. So sorry. We listened. If you don't like it, not sorry. This again was your request. So back to things normally. So the show will still must go on because this is a brand. You like the brand. We're going to continue it. So let me bring on the crew. We've got great co-host with me, as always. Going to bring on my good friend Joe Vic. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
And we're going to bring my other great friend, Easy E.
I don't even know what to say following that intro. I mean, sometimes the grass ain't always greener on the other side, people. I'm just throwing it out there. We'll figure it out.
Sometimes you got to dance with the devil, you know, right?
Together, we'll figure it out, just like this.
Maybe we could use a fourth tonight.
Maybe we'll start taking some resumes. So, right? You can contact the three of us, and we'll go over resumes and review everything to see what's going on. That's okay with y'all. But otherwise, it'll be the three of us. So, as normal, let's do what we do. Greetings, everyone. King J. Sean.
King Sean.
What up? Juan. What up? Shakan.
Shakan. You gotta do it. It's an old habit.
Oh, I'm not that guy. We fired him per their request.
Shakan.
I'm Mike Jones. That's who I am.
I'm nobody.
I'm Zoe V.
Panetta. Nico. Good old Bedoy. Greetings, Bonkers. Hello, G-Man.
You know what makes me feel good is just you see these people that come every week.
Yeah.
They come every week to watch, and it's just fucking a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, anything's possible in this climate. You never know. You know how to contact us. Come on now. Don't play that game.
You'll have to submit 2 resumes, Panetta.
Yeah, 2. Drew, what up?
Drew.
G-Man. Good evening again. We'll get to that point very soon.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
I have talent.
I have no argument there.
I mean, bring the F back.
Yeah, bring the F back at this point.
At this point, everybody wants the F back.
Because the entertainment ain't there.
The F back and Vince gone.
But so guys, what do you want to talk about?
You know, there's something that took up it happened this weekend, and then something followed it up Monday, and it was just this atrocious.
You got a WrestleMania hangover.
Something like that. Look, I'm gonna separate night 1 from night 2, though. I'm just that guy.
That's fine. It's but that's fine. That's fine. WrestleMania. I'm hearing it happen this weekend. 2 nights.
It shouldn't have been 2 nights. I'm sorry. I don't know what they're thinking. Night 1 was phenomenal. Good matches, no problems. Night 2 just took this weird twist.
Well,
It just felt different.
If you've noticed, the last couple of years, the 2 nights have different feels. One is more so wrestling, and Sunday is more so entertainment and big match. Because you're gonna think about it. My favorite, personally, my favorite match of the night is what major match was Intercontinental.
That was solid. I think that was a great match. I still think, for me personally, I think Rhea and Charlotte stole the show. Just both nights. I don't think there was a better match. I'm over Roman partly.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I'll rant when we get there.
How about Joe? What was your favorite match of the weekend?
I mean, it's hard to argue with Charlotte and Rhea. I mean, even after the match, Charlotte, I just like her sitting on the outside clapping. She acknowledged her work. She acknowledged that her and Rhea painted a masterpiece. One of the best women's matches I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know if I would put it number 1. I mean, it's hard to top Bayley and Sasha Iron Man match at NXT. For me, it's hard to top that, but it's up there.
I heard a lot of people putting that match up with Randy and Steamboat.
See, people need to get off of this Macho Man Steamboat match at WrestleMania.
I know how highly it was choreographed and everything like that, but so even the wife doesn't watch wrestling. She doesn't, she'll tolerate it for me, but that's about it. But she even notices there's a big difference between a couple of girls and then the rest, and there's such a disparity between Rhea and Charlotte and 97% of the rest of the women's roster. It's not even close.
Some of them aren't always put in the best positions, and then again, some of them, when they get in that position, they proverbially crap the bed. So it's kind of
a give and take.
Yeah. But night 1, we started off with Brock and Omos. We talked over the weekend during WrestleMania, so
that was night 2, wasn't it?
That was night 1. No, that was night 2. That was night 2. You're right.
Yeah, it was night 2.
Night 1 with the men's. What was it? The men's tag team? Yes, it was the men's tag team match, I believe. No, it was John Cena and Austin Theory.
Yeah, they opened the show.
It was
a solid match, but it was forgettable, obviously. I just forgot.
I mean, you always thought Theory was going to win anyways. I mean,
you're not going to give Cena the title.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded Cena getting the title, and then what the hell are you doing, bro? Not on camera.
But then before Cena does the, you can't see me, he does a little bow to the crowd, saying this is my send off.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
he can send. There's a few guys that I just wish would send off and just stay gone.
But he's earned his send off.
No, I didn't say he didn't earn it, but I'm just
no. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying he's one of the few that has earned their send off.
He's taking spots from younger guys that could be built to challenge Theory and be something else. Instead, WWE paints himself in these holes where they continue to use, Goldberg and Cena and all these women's wrestlers, Lita, and you're not developing behind it.
Okay.
I think a win for Theory elevates him. I thought beating Cena would elevate Theory. Mm-hmm. That's that signature win that he needed. So
yeah, that's the same line I was going through. Because who else would you put in that position that deserves a Mania spot? at this point because there is no other contenders really for the U.S. title. But Cena will give you that. Even though, yeah, we know he's technically Hollywood at this point, and he did what he said he wasn't going to do. He left us.
Yeah.
But that's a big rub because you're beating somebody who still has a name.
Yeah.
It's not like he beat the Great Khali in the opener. Not calling Great Khali a legend, I'm just saying, but it's just a name that's gone.
It's true. I mean, yeah.
It's a catch-22. I get what you're saying. That's a spot that could have gone to a Lashley, an LA Knight, who were completely off the card. But there was no build-up for them, and the Cena Theory thing has been building up since last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine to throw Cena, but I don't know. Again, I'm just get tired of seeing some of these same old names.
I think you should have had LA Knight on the card, like when Lashley came out, he just stood on the stage, like posed for the crowd with the trophy. I would have had him come down to the ring, do an open challenge. LA Knight comes out, yeah. Like
that was kind of supposed to happen, but they cut it. LA Knight was supposed to confront Lashley.
See, and then you got to think of like how much of the original WrestleMania script did they finalize came back after, because Vince was in Gorilla and there was changes, and you figure Sunday
too many changes in WrestleMania.
But you figure by Sunday night, so night 2, that Endeavor deal is all but inked. So new title, we're talking new titles, title changes. In my eyes, once that stuff started getting leaked about Endeavor, there was no chance of a title change. There was no chance of a new title. There was no chance. And give Endeavor a stable platform right now, and then they can do what they want with it later.
You just skipped the whole next topic.
We'll get there. We'll get back to there.
But I understand where you're going with it. Mania, next match would have been we're not going to cover all the matches. We're going to cover the ones that stood out.
Yeah, the highlights.
Yeah.
It was the Fatal 4.
The Fatal 4 men's tag team match was fun to me.
It was fun. Dawkins hitting Braun.
Dawkins hitting Braun with the hit stick was amazing.
Highlight.
Get to see the stupid choo-choo train get knocked off his tracks.
I fucking hate that choo-choo train.
That's why I was happy about the hit. Primetime Players won. Not the Primetime Players. I'm thinking of because Titus O'Neil was on commentary. Street Profits won. My bad.
You had Rollins and Logan Paul. I mean,
that was expected to be good because both of them are just pure athletes. I couldn't have seen it going in any other way because if Rollins had lost that match, he'd have been like, I think 4 straight losses at Mania at that point.
And Logan Paul hasn't won a wrestling match.
He won the first one.
Who did he beat?
Team match.
The tag team match with the Miz at WrestleMania last year. That's right.
And got attacked afterwards.
That's always my complaint with Logan Paul is outside of the ring. I want to hate him. Like, I need to hate him, but I just can't. He's such a gifted fucking athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I that's why I have to respect him because, like, you can tell he takes it serious at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just can't hate him. I want to, but I just can't.
He's not like a celebrity that comes in and half-asses it. Like, he trained, put in the work. Like, what was he working with Shawn Michaels for like a month straight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So
had he not come in, I would argue with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have said it was Bad Bunny otherwise.
Although
Bad Bunny put in the work.
Although his homage to Shawn Michaels on the zip line fell short. That'll never be recreated.
I'm just glad he didn't fall.
I mean, I'm sure the crowd would have caught him though. But still. Or them walking out the way like,
The crowd would have caught anybody. Blue Blazer still be here.
Bro.
That was the ring though, man.
There was no way they could have caught him.
That ref could have caught him.
He told the ref to get out the way. But Seth Rollins picked up the win, a much needed win in a very exciting match. We're going to fast track past the.
We're not talking about the women's tag title match because that wasn't except for Trisha's outfit.
Yeah,
I wasn't even tag. It was a triple threat. It was a 6-man tag. It was just.
No. Oh yeah. That's right.
Lynch and Damage Control.
Yeah. That was like that. Something fell off that match, and I don't know what it was, but it did not do what I was expecting. Then we're going to jump ahead to Ethan's match of the weekend, Rhea and Charlotte.
Those girls put in work.
This was okay. Both of them had a chip on their shoulder, so this is why the match was that good. Because I don't know if everyone's seen it or not, but Charlotte made a comment. If the men's Royal Rumble winner is guaranteed a Royal Rumble, Mania main event, why doesn't the women's version guarantee them a main event? Since it's 2 nights of Mania, it kind of only makes sense. I can't really argue with that.
Nah.
And the match they put on pretty much was a main event caliber matchup.
It was. I think they wanted to steal the show and show everybody like, yo, we should have been on the main event. But I can't argue with the main event because the main event was just that damn good, too.
The main event was storytelling.
So I mean...
But to hand it to those girls, they put in work, and I hope Rhea gets a decent run. I think we're all tired of the Becky. I just there's not many women right now that excite me. Sadly,
if you look at Rhea's evolution, she signed with WWE when she was 17 years old. Look at her evolution from the NXT UK, what she looked like when she came in, and just translated all the way up to the main roster, and she's still only 26 years old.
That's wild.
And there's only one women's title that she has not held. That's the NXT tag team titles, women's tag team titles. She's held every other women's title since she's been there. Nobody else on the roster can say that.
She can leave those tag titles in her rear view because she's gonna be, she's a main eventer for the next fucking 10 years, barring injury.
I think she's gonna want it. Period. Though, just to say I did it. She's that close
to hold every women's title.
Charlotte, nobody else can say that because no one else has held the NXT UK title, which is now gone. It's gone. Unified. So
crazy.
But the main event of night one was a storyline almost a year in the making. The culmination of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos for the Unified Tag Team Championship. This match was just everything I could have possibly wanted from it and more. It was just that. It was that kind of excitement for me. It was a great tag team wrestling. The story was there. The emotion was there. The callbacks were there. I don't if you missed some of them.
I'm very happy Sammy got his moment. I'm one of those guys that have grown stale of Roman and the bloodline, so I think Sammy saved the bloodline for the last 6 months. And the flip side is I don't see it being a long run, which sucks.
We're coming off a 620-day run, so I really don't want another long run.
They need to split the titles. I want to get some of these titles just split up. Get some.
I don't know if I would split the tag titles though, because I don't know if they have enough tag teams to really justify 2 tag team divisions.
I would just have one tag title, create one new one, so it could be the unified tag titles.
Yeah, then just be the tag titles or something, But just there's still too many belts, and
you know what? I thought the Usos were going to retain, but then when I found out they were going on last, that's when I was like, ooh, okay. I was a little worried. You know, like I'm not mad at Sami and Owens winning. I just thought the Usos will retain. Like if Charlotte and Rhea went on last, I could have seen the Usos retaining. But since Sami and KO went on last, then it made for like a feel-good moment. You end night run like that with the crowd popping and everything. And they told a story in that match. I mean, I could see... I don't know who Sami and KO are going to feud with next. It's going to be tough. Maybe the Usos again. I don't know. I mean, you just got to get some other tag teams up there.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The logical thing is you have some kind of run back with the Usos, maybe as you're developing something on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see because we have an impending draft, so we got to see what's coming from that.
Like, why have a draft when like people jump from Raw to SmackDown? Either way,
maybe hopefully they're eliminating the.
They should.
And just do a true brand spread again.
So does that start to incorporate let's unify the heavyweight championship. Let's, is that where we get the new title? Maybe.
Potentially, we could see that. Hopefully, well, we might save that for later. Let's try to run through the topics and that may be a comeback to for the new titles because we don't know what's going on yet. Night 2, Omos and Brock started.
Oof.
It was a matter of opinion where,
yep, agree.
Either you like it or you don't.
Yeah, I'm on that outside, but again, I'm as casual as they come. So that's where I don't read the dirt sheets. So I'm just looking at it from purely like that shit was on TV and that shit sucks.
Okay.
Perspective.
Here's where I enjoyed it. It was about the spectacle. Brock picking up somebody that much bigger than him and hitting them with the F5. That's what it was all for.
It didn't have that Andre feel to me though.
Omos is not as big as Andre.
I know, but I want that feel. Does that make sense? Like I want that feel. Like if you're gonna hype it up, because Brock's a fucking beast. We all know Brock's a beast. So like for him, F5ing Omos would be the equivalent of like maybe the Big Show.
That's still a feat in itself. When Cena hit the FU on the Big Show, everybody geeked out for a long time.
Big Show and Edge at Mania, I think it was. Ooh.
Plus, look at it this way. Omos had a good showing, whether people want to admit it or not. He threw Brock around, and Brock bumped for him like he was still little. Yes, he's smaller than him in size and stature, but Brock's still bigger than him, muscle mass wise.
Omos still has some work to do. Like he still has some work. Mm-hmm. I need him to get
fit him in a mold, right? So like we put people in molds, right? You look at like Austin Theory. Austin Theory is probably a guy that's gonna cruise around the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, and that's probably his plateau, right? He may get a dabble in something bigger, but you get like Roman's the heavyweight champion. You get guys like Gunther. Gunther's a guy that I didn't know his transformation from before. I just seen this guy that looked like a Nazi Germany fucking guy. So when I went back and seen like his transformation, I'm like, oh, that's fucking dope. One, and two, like, he can put on a good match. So like, I see that guy as a potential like that dude could be a heavyweight champion. Omos, I don't see him as a title holder. I just don't. I see him as a gimmick. I see him as like, what's his face from fucking WrestleMania 9, wrestled Undertaker?
Johnny Gonzalez.
Johnny Gonzalez. That's what he is to me. But again, I'm casual.
He's a more talented Giant Gonzalez. At least he can move. Giant Gonzalez he had to wear a muscle suit for God's sake.
I loved it when it had the pad, the fur though on it.
Thinking of, it's funny because we're talking about Omos, but to go back to Theory, who I think Theory's original WrestleMania opponent was going to be? AJ Styles before he got injured. I think it could have been a great
match.
That would have been a good match. A very good match.
Because we're thinking of Omos because I'm thinking AJ's former partner. But I think when Omos was with AJ, it was fine because AJ could hide all those flaws. And Omos's limit helped in the ring. But now that he's away from AJ, I mean, he has MVP. He just, I don't know if he can get there. I mean, I want to see more of his personality that we see on YouTube of him talking. Like, that's what I need to see.
If Gomez Adams is in charge, he's going to be champion. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, if Vince McMahon with his new must ask you a question is back in charge.
Oh no, that's the guy on the Tapatio bottle, Vince.
That's Viper from Top Gun.
And if you're really Mexican, that's Vince is going for the Vicente Hernandez look. So if you don't know, Google Vicente Hernandez, and that's Vince McMahon.
I want to see him go ding 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 ding.
Wow. So I think we're going to skip the next match.
Yeah, because we're going into the IC title.
Yes.
Wait, when was the hold on? When was Shane blowing his quad out in this?
That's later on.
That's later on. Okay.
That's later on. That's later on.
I don't want to skip over that one.
Well, he paid homage to his dad.
Bro,
remember he did it at Royal Rumble.
Crystal had no idea, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that family has the weakest quads in the world." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Go to YouTube," and I sent her the video, and she's like, "Oh my god, he blew his quads out like that."
Yeah. Shout out to Snoop.
But it's funny because Shane goes to get up just like Vince did at the Rumble, and then he just falls back down. It's like,
shout out to Snoop, the ref, and Miz for calling things on the fly.
yeah.
That was props.
But that IC title match,
It made
hard hitting
something again.
Gunther needs a better looking title. I'm stuck on that. Like,
I won't argue with you that the current Intercontinental Championship looked great on Shinsuke. It really hasn't looked good on anybody else.
The Nugget IC would look good on Gunther.
oh yeah. Dude, but he is one of those guys that's just like, that dude's put in work, like legit work, and like you can't help but respect it.
Well, he's one of the few people where they said, get in shape, and he did it.
Yeah,
You know, he looks like a specimen, so, and he still hits just as hard as he did back then.
because you look at him coming up through NXT UK, like, you know, and even when he was in Indies, you know, when you see that picture with him and Adam Pearce from back in the day, then you see Gunther now, and it's like, whoo.
Yeah, I had seen a picture of him with like, there was like 4 different Gunthers, and I was just like, holy shit.
Evolution.
Like, that's wild.
But his interview that he did with Ariel Helwani, like, you just see him speak, you're like, yo.
He's poised.
Like,
he's ready.
Yeah, like the poise that he shows, I'm like, yo, I want to see him do that in WWE, like speak like that, you know, because you don't really hear, you know, when he talks, he yells, rah, rah. You know, I just want to hear that calm, like the calm voice where I know I'm badass. I don't need to raise my voice.
See, and that's the thing is with a lot of these big guys, they always like, they want to project this like fucking just crazy, but you get these big guys with this voice where they're just like, you give me a big guy with the Jake the Snake Roberts style of fucking talk, bro. That shit is way more dangerous and way more believable than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Just if you haven't watched this match, watch this match. Watch the Rhea and Charlotte match. Watch the tag team title match. Just watch these matches. Like, watch them. Study them. We talked about Shane killing himself, trying to do a leapfrog.
The Hell in the Cell was not bad for what it was. I thought the wrong guy won.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that because I would have thought make more sense as Edge is basically on his farewell tour.
Last WrestleMania. Yeah. Maybe they wanted to give him the win.
But that'd have been the second time in a row he got a win on the way out.
That's true.
Kudos to Finn for continuing because that split was ugly.
Did you see his Instagram photo?
Yeah. So it's basically here.
Shout out to the doc though, man. Quickly.
Stapling him on the side? Yeah.
I mean, that adrenaline rushing right there during the match, like, yo, just staple me, I'm good.
Bro, if I was Finn, y'all would have seen me just laying there, be like, "Oh my god, just fucking take me out!" Like dying.
What's crazy is I didn't even you couldn't even see he was bleeding right away until it just started oozing out on a mat.
When they showed the replay and when Edge threw the ladder, and you see that one rung of the ladder step just go like that, I was like, no.
They should have done a still shot and done a record scratch. You're probably wondering how I got to this point. But I'm agreeing with Panetta. They need to just bury the demon at this point because, oh, damn.
Although one of the demon things, the qualities that I was a little upset out, that I mentioned to Crystal, I was like, yo, Ultimate Warrior's paint was dissolved by the time he ran to the ring. Demon's paint lasted the whole match.
If Warrior was alive right now, he would have died trying to run down to that ring. Because that was one of the longest ramps I've seen in my life. Then what do we have after that?
Because you had the main event after Finn and Edge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have the main event where you've kind of... Here's the thing, Ethan. You kind of answered your... I know you're upset about it, but you answered your own question when you mentioned what happened right afterwards.
So
I'm gonna put it to you like this. If you were selling the rights to South Park, would you change Cartman to a new character named Jerome?
no, I get that. I get that now in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
But going into the match, I don't think Roman should have won. Now they're gonna spin it, and it's gonna be the 1,000 days or whatever the fuck. And everybody talks about the 1,000 days, but I'm of the mindset in the school of when I was really in love with wrestling, bro, you had to tune in on Monday night to watch. We had, Shawn Michaels, Yoko, Brett, Austin. There's so many champions that were so good. Roman getting to 1,000 days to me is just like,
well, it's bigger than 1,000 days actually. Here's a major thing that people are neglecting to realize. Cody came in from the rival promotion that he started. 3 straight victories over one of their top guys. He got hurt. Okay, he had to take time away. He won the Royal Rumble. Great. Kudos to him for I'm not downplaying his injury. That was a hell of an injury, and I'm glad he came back. However, why would I give you a WrestleMania win this soon after you just coming back from the rival promotion?
It's at this point, it's necessary.
No, it's not.
Roman.
It's not about you. You're focused on one thing, on one person, and you shouldn't be just focused on Roman.
I am.
It's bigger than just Roman. It's the bloodline. The bloodline is supposed to be dominant.
But see, here's the thing, though. We all need to get out of our head that the bloodline's going to go past Roman. We're not going to get Rock because you know what the WWE does? The WWE just disappoints their fans and not gives them what they want. It's happened 100 times.
Okay.
We're not going to get Rock and Roman.
We don't know that.
We're not going to get it.
We don't know that.
I'll put $5 on it right now.
Okay, I'll take that.
Lock it in.
Here's my issue if Cody would have won. He would have been stale in 2 weeks, and he would have been getting booed. But, so I know a lot of people are like, yo, Vince is back. Like, yo, Vince is the one that had Roman win. The thing is, Cody is a Vince guy. Vince is the one that recruited Cody to come back to WWE. He flew down and met with Cody himself. Like, he's the one that wanted Cody back. So Cody's a Vince guy. But thing with Roman, like, I think he's so red hot now. I think whoever beats him, like, when you, like, Solo returning made sense because Cody beat Solo on Raw last week, 2 weeks ago, the Raw before WrestleMania. So it's like the NWO syndrome. I use it because when you had to beat Hogan, you had to go through like 3 to 4 NWO members coming down, and you know, like you're trying to stop them. So basically, what the Bloodline is doing with Solo and the Usos is like, yo, you take this belt away from Roman, you ruin the whole Bloodline and all this stuff because it's so big. So the person to beat Roman, I think, is going to be somebody in the Bloodline. Say like a Jey Uso. You think Solo's going to attack his own brother? I don't think so. So Roman's going to get to that point and someone's going to beat him. I think he's just so red hot right now. I know a lot of people don't like him. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't think he needs to hold 2 titles. I think you either need to give him just 1 title or split the titles up.
That's another thing.
But if they don't, then, I mean, I don't know.
I'll piggyback on that. Same thing happened with Ric Flair and the Horsemen. You had to beat all of them to get the championship. Mm-hmm. They put Sting through hell. They tried to kill. They broke Dusty's leg. Like they didn't care. You're not going to get to the champ. You want to get to the champ, you're not coming there on your own regards. Yeah. So look at it that way. It's like Cody is better in the chase. But
give him a strap.
He wears a weight belt. That's a strap.
No. Like I wouldn't mind seeing them split the heavyweight, and I think Gunther's earned like a Universal Championship. Give Cody his iconic IC back.
I said Cody, like I was said in the crowd. Cody has had no adversity besides his injury. Yep. So he has to. You want to talk about your dad so much? Well, become your dad. You have to go through hard times. These are your hard times now. And for those keeping score at home, if you look at what happened to Cody the next night on Raw after WrestleMania, it was a repeat of exactly what happened to Cena in 2012 after he lost to The Rock. The next night on Raw, a Mr. Brock Lesnar destroyed him as well.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a reason why Brock destroyed Cody on Raw. And Mr. Jones brought this up to me because I forgot about it. When Roman beat Brock, the stipulation was Brock couldn't challenge for the title as long as Roman's the champion. So Brock's beating up Cody like, yo, you should have beat him, because if you did, I would have been able to challenge for the title. Mm-hmm. But since you didn't, I'm taking out my anger on your ass and just destroying you. And you give Cody Brock, like, I think, you build Cody back up. Now, do I think Cody beats Brock? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that, but
it should at least be a 1 or 2 matches. Cody should definitely lose the first one because he should still be injured. And Brock just should be like mercy saves him and just walks away after he beats him. 1 F5 and said, "You're still not ready, kid."
Yeah. Cody has to go through hard times like Dusty did to build. Because remember Paul Heyman speaking this past weekend. Imagine the journey, like Cody, man, coming back, like going through all this adversity, losing.
Yeah. And then there's that. We're speculating at this time, but it's a lot of time left. We got to watch and see what happens. Now, we'll move on to the next topic. I know a few of you want us to jump straight there, so I'll cover it now. Vicki Guerrero. There's always 3 sides to a story. Mm-hmm. So far, we've heard technically 2 different versions of the story because the 2 daughter stories kind of corroborate with each other, and then there's Vicky's story, so we don't know the truth yet.
Here's my issue. That was put on Instagram. Right? So there's this wild disconnect because as a parent, one, my kid comes to me with something like that. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to believe my kid first.
That part exactly.
First,
like
there's no if she's lying and stuff like that, we'll deal with that
her later.
Later. But to side with person and then like you air it out on Instagram, there's this weird disconnect of reality to me going on right now with Vicki.
Well, the daughter put it out first.
Yeah.
She put out a 10-minute video on TikTok. So she put it out first and laid it out there. So,
but we don't know how it's been approached before.
Yeah, we
it could have been, yo, hey mom, this went on, and her mom was like, "You're stupid." So she went to TikTok with it, and clearly her mom is like, "There's something wrong, anyways."
Yeah, and then I don't know. Then Chavo chimed in and said, "I back my niece 100%." Then later on, Shaw Guerrero made a post saying she's only talking about this one time. She said, and it wasn't. Well, it's speculatory. I really don't want to get too deep into it, but it was a sexual assault allegations from Sherilyn about Vicky's husband, which happened on a cruise. She's saying she was sexually assaulted. Shaw said it was inappropriate touching and things like that, which is still technically sexual assault. No means no.
Yep.
It's your wife's child. I don't care. That's just no. That's but I'm not saying he did it, but I can only go, what I'm saying is speculatory and hearsay. So we are just commenting on what you guys put on the internet, which should have never reached the internet. Keep family business off the internet. We never needed to have to hear this, but I'm not saying she shouldn't have spoken out about it, because obviously she wasn't getting anything done between her mom, and her sister.
Like Vicki, like talking about like, you know, like, oh, this is all a lie. You know, what about the plan B when you had all, you know, when we went to get like a plan B pregnancy test, you know, were having like all these men in your room, like, yo, man, you just put, like, as a parent, like, I don't.
That's the disconnect that I don't. Yeah. There's something there that
we don't know, like, the truth. Like, somebody's telling the truth, somebody's lying. But for me, as like a wrestling fan, where I see Vicki Guerrero, I see her just living off her husband's fame, you know, and it feels like, I could be wrong saying this, but it feels like once Eddie passed away, she shunned the kids out and it's like, yo, I'm the one now and I'm moving on. Like, I just don't get it. Like as a parent, like, you're supposed to be there for your kids. Okay, if they have issues, you know, you don't just, you know, cut them off like that. Like somewhere there is a truth. I don't know where it is.
Look at it's weird to call a model parent, but look at a model parent like a guy like Cain Velasquez. Found out something and did work.
Didn't ask questions.
To his niece too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll say another thing that makes me look at things a little differently now. AEW recently told her they weren't renewing her contract and for her to just sit home. Maybe they were getting ahead of this situation.
Makes sense.
Maybe they found out what happened and was like, yo, we're not going to do this.
So if that's the case, kudos to you, AEW, for being proactive instead of reactive.
Yep.
My final thoughts on that is that's just nasty. Even if you and your daughter, if your daughter was promiscuous or whatever, that was not what she was even talking about. So that was a deflection by you, and that's just nasty.
Yep. Speaking of AEW,
And speaking of AEW, they're very bold. Tony Khan made an announcement last night that I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be a UK show. I can admit that. But for them to say we're doing Wembley Stadium, I had no choice in my mind but to think they're out of their minds. Wembley hasn't been done in a long period of time by a wrestling promotion for reasons. It is not an easy sellout. Maybe the fans in the UK will just bite because it's a huge show. However, from the way I'm looking at it right now, it looks like delusions of grandeur. There's a couple things they could potentially do to try and sell out, but that will require 3 men. And the main event would potentially need to be Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP US Championship. The reason I'm saying something like that is because it'll be very reminiscent of the last wrestling event that was held in that stadium. Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental Championship. You have someone from the UK versus someone from Canada. And the Canadian would be walking in as champion. And the other person, this is just fantasy booking. I haven't heard anything along these lines, but for a UK show, I would do it. Call Davey Boy Smith Jr. Put him in the Owen Hart Cup. Have the finals be at Wembley Stadium. That should draw fans. That's just me. What do you gentlemen feel?
So my brain is going in this weird direction, right? Because I was reading this article the other day, and I feel like this pool is more Daddy Khan's money. So Daddy Khan got that NFL money. And I was reading this article that the NFL is really looking to expand to over there. And I think they use the name and the pool to try to get stakes because they want regular season games over there every year. So you use the Khan name, throw some wrestling at him, put some football players in the crowd. Build up the hype. Same thing WWE does. Pay some Jaguars to go over there and sit in the front row, throw a couple clotheslines.
I get that, but I would have thought they would have gone for like the O2 Arena. Something smaller. This is your first time over there.
I agree, because I just looked up the SummerSlam 92 attendance. That was over 80,000. I think they'll be lucky to get 40,000 or 50,000 maybe. But I thought the news was going to be a 6:05 Saturday show, like the old WCW. But another thing came out that said they don't think it's a pay-per-view. They think it's going to be on Dynamite or Warner Brothers streaming service. So, I mean, I think you would have to make it a pay-per-view. You can't just put it on Dynamite.
For Wembley Stadium, you better put that on.
Yeah, because fans will pay the money to see that show if you put Omega and Ospreay in the main event and then other, stars and everything. Like, people are going to pay for that. But, I mean, kudos. I mean, UK has always been like a WWE market.
Yes.
I get AEW trying to go outside the box. Like, hey, maybe we can do this. I give them props. If it is a success, big kudos to them. I just Googled AEW's max attendance.
Mm-hmm. Their max attendance for a show was 20,177.
That's why I said this is potentially delusions of grandeur. Like,
They're swinging for the fences, man. You better hit a grand slam.
I understand that. Like I'm right there with you. Like I'm glad they're trying. It's bold. As big as bold as it could be a beautiful thing if they pull it off. They are legit competition. At that point, if you can pull in a
So, WWE's Clash at the Castle. All right. Got over 62,000 people.
And where was it?
Wales.
Mm-hmm.
Cardiff, Wales.
But 62,000, but they avoided
Wembley.
So the crowd may come out. If they come out, they better deliver because
SummerSlam 92 wasn't originally supposed to be in Wembley. Like, they were thinking, I think it was Los Angeles. I forget, somewhere else, like maybe. But then when they put, like, British Bulldog in the main, against Bret Hart, they're like, we got to go to Wembley Stadium because he's so big over there.
Exactly.
That entrance ramp was so big, you had to play the music twice for wrestlers coming down the aisle. Like,
yeah.
But, I mean, we'll see.
Shout out to you for being a real fan. He's a mark, so that doesn't mean anything.
You fucking mark.
I'm sure Marabito will have a wedding there.
They're calling it all in, but
Adam Cole mentioned yesterday that they don't think it's going to be a pay-per-view. It could be a Dynamite or on Warner Brothers streaming service because it's Warner Brothers 100 years anniversary.
He's not going to rehab. You might call him Adam Winehouse.
His face yesterday when he was announcing it, I'm as excited to go to the UK. I mean,
like Forbidden Door. I'm surprised they didn't go for a bigger arena. Like I agree with you because you'll get people to fly out for that. I hope you're right.
Why don't they go to the Omni? Imagine if that was the announcement.
Should have been real bold and went back to Caesar's Palace.
Somebody needs to do that. Even an indie promotion can do that.
And Joe, I mean, because WWE built that whole thing outside for WrestleMania 9. Like, that was nice.
So it can be done. And then the final topic for the night. Endeavor.
Yes.
Purchase WWE. However, in recent news, I don't know if you guys heard, this may get rescinded because there's some legal ramifications that apparently they cut corners on.
Ooh, I ain't heard this yet.
It's being really sketchy about what's going on with it, but they're saying the stockholders weren't given the best deal because it could have been more lucrative going elsewhere, and they kind of sold it quickly without giving other bidders a chance to try to hop in.
Yeah, because they wanted Vince to be in charge.
Again, unfortunately, it falls into my South Park analogy from earlier.
I hope they don't because it's, again, overly pessimistic, and they're going to follow the UFC's model. $50, $60 pay-per-views.
They can't do that right now.
We're not right. Once the contracts.
But
Peacock sold what, 25, 26?
26.
Yeah. So that's
So
a save right there.
UFC's pay-per-views on ESPN Plus is, I think, up to $80 now. But here's the thing: that's not UFC's call. That's ESPN. Dana came out. They were like, the media were asking Dana about it. Dana's like, it's not my call. It's ESPN's call. If it was my call, it'd still be at 60. So the Peacock deal ends in 2026. Can Peacock still re-up the deal? Yeah, they can. Because if they don't, and then they go to like another streaming service, like say if they go to ESPN Plus, WWE is not going to get a lot. WWE will not be at the pay-per-view buys that UFC is at. They won't even come close.
Can you imagine spending $80 on Clash at the Castle?
It would probably be like $40 to $50.
Yeah, For that, but the thing is with
well,
the
no,
ESPN
yeah,
Plus,
I mean, yeah, ESPN,
you got to pay for the app, and then you still got to pay for the pay-per-view
Yeah.
after you get the app. So at this point, they honestly should look into Fight. Like the indie promotions use Fight Network. It saves you a lot of headache.
Well, UFC, I mean, of course they buy it because I mean, UFC and WWE are a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not paying. Can you imagine paying like $40 for night one of WrestleMania, $40 for night two, like $80?
It got to be a package where you charge me $60 for both.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see in 2026 what happens. But Nick Khan said that hey, Peacock can when it's up, we can still be with them again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if UFC and WWE will be on one streaming service. I mean,
I would probably keep them separately because it just doesn't. It's not exactly the same. The UFC fan base doesn't all like wrestling, and all of wrestling fan base does not like UFC.
Yeah. Like UFC has their own Fight Pass, which is kind of like a network. It's $10, but you see like old fights, and you see like original content and all this stuff. Like it's funny. I was telling Jones this. So today, like Endeavor, okay, like Vince is 49%, but Vince is not going to do nothing with UFC. Like UFC and WWE are going to be separate, but Vince will have 49%. Now, here's what I can see Ari doing. It's what he did with UFC. When he bought UFC, he bought 51%. And then other people like Sheiks in Abu Dhabi and, some celebrities like Guy Fieri owned, the other share, other 49%. Well, Ari bought them all out a year or two ago. So now he owns 100%. I could see in 2 or 3 years, Ari's buying WWE shareholders 49% of them all out and owning 100% of WWE.
I believe it was Mark Shapiro who already said something along those lines. He said right now it's a 51-49 split, but I expect the same path that we took with UFC in 2016. So I was like, okay, so it's just we'll buy part now, and then we'll buy the rest later.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Ari doing that. Like Dana and Vince get along. Like they have no beef with each other. They get along perfect. You won't see no crossover. Like today, they had the UFC press conference for the fight this weekend, Saturday. And, one of the media members asking Dana, like, about the UFC WWE merger under Endeavor. And Dana's like, yo, I don't want to talk about it. Let's keep this on the fighters, because he already addressed it the other day. And then another reporter asks a fighter, Kevin Holland, he goes, hey, if past or present, who would you take a steel chair to in WWE or the UFC? And, Kevin Holland's like, no comment. And Dana's like, thank you. Anybody else got a stupid question to ask? Like, Dana's already getting frustrated, like, having to ask these questions because he already dealt with it. Like, yo, the media, you're there for UFC. Don't talk about WWE. It's two separate entities. Like now, do I think them both under one banner can help each other? It can help WWE, but not UFC, because UFC is already big. UFC has 23 consecutive events or 26 consecutive sellouts. WWE is not doing that. I think UFC is I think Endeavor is gonna try to get WWE up there. But once they see the numbers and see what Vince doing, because Ari wanted to keep Vince, there. But you could tell in that interview, when they're both sitting there, yo, Ari's in charge. Ari's you could say what you want, but I'm running this bitch.
Here's what I'll say. UFC can learn some things from WWE. WWE has a far greater presentation. So therefore, UFC can pick up some of the presentation aspects, make it more they're already a spectacle, but they can enhance that. They can also look into the streaming setup they have with Peacock as opposed to UFC with ESPN. It's a double paywall with ESPN. Of course, you're going to want to pick a paywall, but the double paywall, I got to pay for this network, and then I got to pay another $80 on top of that. Maybe you incorporate a package where it's a UFC package where you get 2 pay-per-views free, but you got to pay for the other ones, or you can add ons like something. You got to give incentives as opposed to 80 each time because it's what is an event every month.
Yep.
So 80 times 12. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Plus, in addition to ESPN Plus,
You can they can feed off each other because UFC is really big in Abu Dhabi. Imagine WWE going to Abu Dhabi. I mean, for an event, they could do it.
yeah, like it's a lot of things that can benefit from each other. I'll give you a chance to sip, then I'll ask you. What do you think, Ethan?
Again, I fall on the pessimistic side. I'm preparing for $50, $60 pay-per-views, and once Peacock deal is done, and I think the businesses they'll keep separate. Just UFC does this thing, WWE does this thing, and I don't think we'll see much in the way of any kind of mergers like that. It's just all going to come down to dollars and cents.
Okay. Most people are probably going to laugh at me and yell at me. If you're going to do the pay-per-view thing, what you're going to have to do is use the Impact model. You need to give Impact Plus gives you a free event every month, but you may get a pay-per-view every 2 to 3 months. So along those lines, you need to, if you're going to be charging people $60 for the pay-per-views, you should really only be charging for a Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, I'll give you Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Those are the only ones you should be charging the big bucks for, because those are your bread and butters. The other ones, basically give them away free. Consider it like a UFC fight night.
I mean, if they go away from Peacock and they do the pay-per-view model like the UFC is, WWE's going to regret it. Endeavor's going to know. Endeavor has to know, yo. If you look at like I said, if they did that model and Endeavor's yo, we're looking at the WWE buys and the UFC buys. This is really different. But I hope it doesn't go down that route because I'm sorry, I'm not paying for pay-per-view again. Just not going to do it.
Bootleg.
For wrestling, well, I pay for AEW, I pay for Impact, but they're not once a month.
Yeah,
and they're $40 to $50 a pop, as opposed to 60, 80. So, teach your own. So, that's pretty much it for this week, I think. We'll see you next week. I can't promise the other guy will
could be 3.
Could be 3.
Could be 2.
Could be a new member. Who's the 4th member? I don't know.
Yes, send those applications in because resumes in because we'll see how I feel about bringing the other guy back. But it's Mike Jones. Joe V. Easy E. The Treacherous 3. We out.